Next up in my battle report series, my call to arms round 5, Green Lady versus a very tanky, elite and lots of healing Empire of Dust list. I have made 2 major mistakes in this game. Let's see if I can recover.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
Okay, sorry for the long wait, ladies and gentlemen. What basically happened is I have a second child, so things have been very busy for the past month and a half right here. So continuing on my call to arms journey, I'm using the same list as I've been using for the past few games. To summarize, I changed up a second unit of Heart Piercers for a second Unicorn with Scorched Earth. So why I did that is because I wanted to use Scorched Earth against lists that sort of set up for me to kill their chaff and then punch me back in return. So at least I can blunt the counter punch. Think that it's not very worth it as of now because 2 Heart Piercers does work, but when I reduce it to 1, I thought, you know, it could sort of compensate with a Lightning Bolt 5 from the Unicorn. But you know, the 2 Unicorns tend to deploy on opposite ends, and the Heart Piercers are at another spot, so sometimes they don't get to shoot at the same target, so I can't bring enough volume of shooting to one target to really threaten some ranged damage. But Scorched Earth do work sometimes, and in order to bring that second Unicorn, I need more unlocks, so I sacrificed the Order of Redemption for second unit of Order of the Forsaken, which kind of work quite well because of the flying. It can pincer very well, you know, it still moves, charges 4 inch further than cavalry, and it can get over units to charge at flanks and all that. So my opponent's list is a very elite 11 drop at 2300 points Empire of Dust list, and on top of that I think there are 3 individuals, or at least 2 individuals and a war engine. So the number of scoring units are very little, but however they are all very tanky. Defense 5, defense 6, regen, and there's also the Drain Life from the Soul Snare, and guess what, he has Alchemist Curse as well. So very painful list. Everything is quite tanky, and on top of that the only soft targets are Spearman, which has Phalanx, which is wonderful against my list, right? So let's see what happens. But first, a quick shout out to my local game store. If you're from the Asia Pacific region, do consider checking out Hammer House website for your hobby needs. They carry a wide range of miniatures and hobby supplies, including Mantic, Vallejo, Scale 75, and Green Stuff World products. Alright, let's look at the deployment. So he won the sides, and this is control. So he decided to take the bottom, and so I got the top. Let's see if there's anything very significant here. I guess he doesn't want to hinder his advance with the forest in the middle, so that his mummy core don't get hindered charging out of it. Okay, so there is a Sphinx at the central area right here, which sort of he can use to help deny the flank of this side. So let's see what happens. He pushes everything quite cautiously, except the Idol of Shobik. I think it's not within charge range of these flyers. Perhaps it's a mistake of mine to not have it within charge range. Maybe I should have put the Forsaken more towards this 1/3 mark where these control markings are, so that I can sort of charge it if it gets too aggressive like this. Okay, nothing too serious though. You can tell that he deployed quite lightly on the right. Yeah, and 2 fast and mobile units, right? The Chariot and then the Apathis. While I still have, you know, 1 Beast of Nature. I'm deployed lighter as well, but still a Beast of Nature and a Forsaken unit. So let's see, this is the new version of Universal Battle where I can check front arcs and everything. Yeah, I guess I got a chance to bring the beast out of Apathis front arc, while this one is probably within, and I tried to stay out of 18 inch of the Chariot. I guess I don't want to be double charged by the Chariot. It has boots boots of haste, so I think it's speed 9. Yep, so charges 18. Okay, so everything advances. So this is my first mistake. Notice how this cavalry is so close to the heart piercers. Now they have no room to wiggle around. Okay, so if I rewind why I did this, I deployed the Forsaken next to the heart piercers, which has space. This is fine, but the knights are a little bit too close to the heart piercers, so when I moved up they sort of become aligned. Why did I do this? Because if you see, I'm trying to get both of them to fit on the hill 50%. Okay, so the knights managed to get up within 50%, moving up 8 inches, and it started behind the Forsaken unit, but they end up pretty cramped together, and that's gonna bite me later on. Okay, so why I did this, knights are on the hills, height 6 in total, while the Forsaken unit is off the hill, so height 4, so they could double charge at the same target if I want to. Okay, so let's see what happens in the next turn. Okay, so what my opponent did is he abandoned the right totally. Look at the fly, it went all the way to the center, and the chariot also turned around, of course staying out of 20 inches of my charge range, and the Shobik as well, it just dashed all the way across. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next slide. So a little bit more shifting, and I already seen this, but I already saw this coming, but the Shobik has a chance of charging or surging into the flank of the heart piercers. Right, currently it's in the front, so the charge will be in front, but he has enough surge to possibly bring it to a flank. It's not an outrageous surge amount, so it's pretty possible, but because my two units are so tight together, I can't really adjust much. Looking at this, maybe I could have adjusted a little bit more, but it probably would not be enough to prevent the flank surge. Okay, so Forsaken slid sideways to just make more space so that I don't jam myself up. Still don't have a good opportunity to charge at things, and I think I dealt 7 wounds from shooting over here, which is pretty good, but he has good healing potential as well. Okay, so seeing that he has abandoned the right side, my flyers quickly come in, hopefully to capitalize on this, while the center is still pretty strong with this brick. Okay, so and next turn, as expected, he surged the Shobik into the heart piercers and killing it outright. Look at the healing, bring it down to 1. Okay, so that's all my shooting over the turn has just been wasted. Okay, so at this point, Shobik is in a very threatening position. The only thing that can charge it is the Beast of Nature, and it's not gonna kill Shobik, and it's just gonna be eaten by this dragon in the rear. Okay, so at this point, I have to put everything in. Okay, Shobik is already there, I can't stop it. Might as well just throw everything in so that he can only pick apart one thing at a time. Okay, can't be stingy at this point. Okay, so yeah, the knights really wanted the extra thunderers as well. Of course on mummies, right, because the phalanx just stripped all the thunderers from the spearmen. Okay, so yeah, because my druid is the Benchan source, and sometimes it just is usually deployed in the center, and if my fast flanks approach, I can't capitalize or make use of Benchan. It is usually happening in the later game. So bottom of 3, I crash everything in. Okay, so let's see what happens. Yeah, I think let's go from left side. The unicorn and the spearman charge into the the unicorn and the Forsaken charge into the spearman regiment. So I need so much effort just to take out a regiment, right? Because I lose my thunderers and I get -1 to hit. So I didn't need to pop my J boots because the phalanx doesn't stack with the hindrance anyway. Okay, so I charged the Beast of Nature into the skeleton horde. Why did I do this? So that in case I fail to route this unit, my Forsaken won't get charged in the flank. Right, I think it couldn't fit. It couldn't turn and fit. Or maybe it could. Not too sure there. Or I think I used my unicorn to cushion so that I'll have to charge my unicorn and hopefully not kill it first. Okay, but nevertheless, I charged the Piece of Nature to try to pin it in place. Okay, so I double charged this unit of mummies. Okay, one off the hill and one into the flank. So you see these white numbers here are the average damage. So I should be dealing 13.4 damage and have brutal. So I only dealt 12, right? One off. But with brutal, it's a 13, it's a 5 twice to route, and I failed to route it, so that kind of sucks. Alright. So over here in the middle, I triple charge into the chariot, the Pharaoh chariot. Okay. Why? Actually, this double charge would be enough. Okay. This one and this one in the front would probably be enough, and you can see there's been chant over here. But because of the Forsaken, right, my Earth Elementals, looking at this, I have to charge these mummies from the front, quite near the edge, and he could do a flank charge. Alright, so to prevent that from happening, I charged the Pegasus in the flank as well. But the problem is when I routed the chariot, I forgot about my plan that the Pegasus is there to prevent the flank charge, and guess what? I reformed sideways and it created this gap over here, and so that allows the mummies to charge the flank of these Earth Elementals, which is a huge mistake. I totally forgot about that, and I made a totally irrelevant sidestep. You know, I think I should have pushed forward, and then it wouldn't have blocked the Forsaken's line of sight. Now it's also blocking the Forsaken's line of sight. Okay, so that was my second major mistake, and I paid for it. So look, 12 damage dealt here. Failed to route. That's unfortunate for me, but this was the bigger mistake. He also have problem cracking armor, right? Other than his alchemist curse is gone. It's on the chariot, so he has problem cracking armor, and I have healing. But this the mummies, one of them has Brawl Strength, one of them has Sharpness. This must be one of them with the items. And so next turn he flank charged and killed off the Earth Elementals outright. I was heavily punished for it. Okay, the knights that failed to kill off this mummy in front, it got double charged, one in the front by the Apathist and the other one in the flank by the other unit of mummies, and it was taken out. These mummies that taken 12 damage instead countercharge the Earth Elementals. It is also to make that small little gap because the width is the depth is less than the length. So it creates a small opening so that the Apathist could charge the front. Okay, and guess what? From 12 damage, it dropped to 3. So I'm like, oh dear me, this is terrible. Okay, so over here, the Beast of Nature got countercharged by the spears and rear charged by the by Shobik. So that's a guaranteed going down as well. So they turn around and face my Forsaken. Alright, so things are not looking great for me so far. Okay, but the Forsaken could charge the rear of this unit of mummies, which will probably take them out. So that is what I'm going for, you know. So these things have nothing to look at, right? This unit of Unicorn, charge range 20, is gonna charge the Soul Snare and stop it from casting Drain Life. But the thing about Unicorn is it only has 3 attacks. Even tripled against War Engines, it's only 9 attacks. Not very likely to take out the War Machine in one round, so that's the unfortunate part about Unicorns. So yep, Unicorn charged into Soul Snare, didn't take it out. Okay, Forsaken charged into the rear of the unit of mummies, finally taking it out. The other Beast of Nature, where did it come from? It came all the way from here, charged it in the front, didn't take it out. I'm not sure if it's probably out of the front arc of this dragon, or maybe, yeah, there's too much of a traffic jam over here, he can't charge the flank anyway. Maybe if he sidestepped the mummies, yeah, that's a possibility, but I just try to jam everything in so that he can't, you know, search into flanks, charge flanks and stuff like that. Okay, over here, look, Bane Chant with Order of the Forsaken did not kill this unit. Let's see, it's on 2, right? Average damage with Bane Chant should be 10. Okay, and my Green Lady did Cloak of Death this round. As you can see, there's 1 damage here. yep, the Cloak of Death this round, and it should be on 13. So if it's on 13, I just need a 5 twice. It's on 12, I need a 6 twice, and I failed it again. So series of unfortunate nerf rolls. Alright, so it's at 12. It's gonna heal it all up again. Just watch. So next round, I think it's just a regen. Brought it down to 7. Maybe he did drain life somewhere. Alright, I think this is in the flank. Alright, so the Pathis charged it in the flank. And down to 7. I'm running out of hammers. I'm down to Beast and 1 Forsaken. Okay, Regiment of Earth Elementals to help out a little bit, but things are not looking great for me. Okay, if you notice, the Pegasus here is sort of just scooted out of the way, right? Because it's blocking the Forsaken from his charge. They're both height 4, and this is control, right? So I just took it out of the way. I was like, okay, I'm now in the position that I can flank charge stuff if there's still stuff around here. Flank or rear charge, and this is control. I might fly off to claim a sector at the end of the game. So not looking great. Let's see what happens. Bottom of 5, I'm still struggling. I'm still, you know, playing as cagey as I can, blocking as many flank positions as I can. So over here, look. So the Pegasus did fulfill the prophecy of charging things in the rear, even, okay, because of the Earth Elemental, I guess. So charged in the rear, dealt 12 damage, and once again didn't get that 6 twice, right? So Forsaken killed off this mummy by charging in the flank. And now using the Earth Elementals, I tried to block this flank from the dragon over here. And so what's left is Shobik in the front. And they're fully healed, right? So Shobik in the front. And this skeleton's in the flank, but hindered. Okay, so hitting on 6. I'm sure one of his combat heroes are here. And then there's Drain Life as well. So, yep, the combat hero. I think it's just the combat hero and Shobik going in, because you can see the skeleton move to start claiming table sections. So it's just the combat hero plus Shobik plus Drain Life. Yep, I think Pathis charged the Earth Elementals. So at the top of 6, right, up till the bottom of 5, like I still had a slight chance, right? If the Forsaken didn't die. Right, so this is still 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unit strength. He has 4, 5, 6, 9 unit strength. 4, 5, 6, 9. Yep, this Soul Snare is a war engine, so no unit strength. So still not too bad, but the moment this went down, it's game over by then, right? And look, 12 wounds down to 2. So these mummies are really hardy and a pain in the butt. Okay, we rolled a turn 7, so although I missed some screenshot, but if we roll a turn 7, it was definitely over for me anyway. So this is the end of the game. Almost everything is gone. Okay, so let's look at some learning points. So never align your units flush with each other. It prevents pivoting of units. They kind of get stuck together. So yeah, that was a mistake on my part. I probably should have aligned the the heart piercers. Let me just rewind more towards this end of the hill, so that my knights don't have to squeeze in so much. Okay, so if I draw it out, it's more towards here, so maybe my knights can be here, right? So I have a good amount of space. Where I was, the heart piercers were much closer to the center of the hill. Okay. So yeah, so even if you're afraid of being flanked, you don't have to align flushed, alright? Even if individuals don't get double or triple attacks, but even if you're afraid of individuals charging you in the flank, you want to deny that, you can still have a 19mm gap between units, right? So that an individual can't get in as well. Okay, so remember your initial movement plans when you reform. So sometimes the movement phase, you know, you spend a lot of time planning it out, and then maybe the Pegasus charge was one of my earlier decisions. And then by the time I went and resolved that combat, I forgot why the Pegasus was there, and I was like, oh, let me reform. And that totally screwed me up, right? So yeah, reform is a movement outside of the movement phase. So sometimes, imagine like chess where you get to plan how you want to position your pieces after an attack. So you have to take that into consideration and remember your original plan. Okay, and vice versa as well. So during your movement phase, you have to think about your reform as well. So one of the common mistakes players might make is that they place their caster at the butt of a unit that charged, and because the charging unit killed the target, it can't reform because the caster, your spell caster, is pressed up against the butt, so he can't pivot at all. Alright, so next, flying units. So both me and my opponent did this a lot, where my Forsaken would fly over the Spearman Horde into the rear of the mummies, face somewhere in the middle, and same for him. His Apathis would fly over the front of my targets into the flank of my Forsaken Horde. So yeah, always look for juicy targets as you fly over the front line, and it's always very painful for the opponent. He has to put his front units to face against your flyer, right? But then you could just fly over and then he'll be looking at nothing, and he has to spend one time turning around. So both of us use that to very effectively. Okay, so towards the end of the game, I did try my best to cover my flanks with other units and even terrain. Not much terrain, but mostly other units, to sort of limit his options of flank charging. Yeah, and this was a painful loss for me. Up to this point, I was only one loss into the call to arms. So when you are one loss, you can still place quite highly, but this is the second loss from the campaign, the league. So that will be I'll be out of the running for maybe top 10. So, but you learn more from losses, and don't give up halfway through the game when you're losing. Okay, so although I made two painful mistakes and then dice rolls didn't go my way, I didn't pop the 2 units of mummies. I think 3 times I failed to pop the mummies that were on 12 wounds. Okay, but when you're losing, right, when you're forced to catch up, right, you really force yourself to make the best decisions possible. Okay, and always be critical of yourself and analyze what plays we can improve, because I can't improve dice. I was like, oh, if only I wrote 1 higher on my damage, 1 higher on my nerf. Okay, but this is something we can't control. So analyze on the plays that we can improve on, so that maybe if I played better, I could have charged 1 more unit in, and then that 1 more damage would have come easily. Alright, so things like that. Or I charge in a way that I set up a play such that even if I don't route it, I'm not in a terrible position. Okay, so those are the things that you can think of on how to improve. And it's through this loss that I can look back and say, yeah, I didn't align. I align my units flush that allows Shobik to charge my Heart Piercers in the flank. And I forgot about my Pegasus plan. If I won that game, maybe I would not think of this. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I played well. I wouldn't have identified these mistakes. Of course, I think I still would have by making this battle report. But if I didn't make the battle report, I might go, oh yeah, I won that game, so I played well. So that's why you learn more from losses, and always seek to improve plays to the point that you can win even if you have much worse dice luck than your opponent. And if you look at the high level tournaments worldwide, you can see always the top names keep drifting to the top, because they have much more skill than reliance on dice lucks. So perhaps dice luck will affect who would be number 1. Okay, but their skill level is what places them constantly in the top 10, top 15, top 20 in a big tournament. So yep, do take your learnings from your losses. And that's it. So I didn't manage to recover. So if you were to play again, I will be sure not to make those mistakes. And I hope you enjoyed this battle report. Do subscribe and check out for more if you love them. Yep, thank you.